Yeah, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Feral Friday, Publicly Buzzed Live. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Yeah, we are going over we're going over the possibility of a serial killer tonight. They're calling Lady Bird Lake. At least it's in that area. Possibility of a serial killer. 10 bodies have been found in or near this lake, and tonight we have a man that has been documenting that. And he not only documents this case, he's also been documenting a lot of other stuff in and around Austin, Texas. Yeah, let me bring him on right now. And also, of course, Dan is going to be joining me as well. Let me get the guest in here real quick. Make sure I hit the right button. I always want to do that. Boom. Jamie Hammonds, what is going on, dude, from documenting Austin? What's up, brother?
Hey, man, how's it going? I appreciate you having me on today.
Dude, absolutely. And Dan, what's up, bro?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, dude. So I know you've been close to this, but like I said, before we even get into that, you do a lot of different things in this area. Like you started out, I guess, really kind of covering the homeless stuff going on, right? The homeless areas out there.
Yeah. So I started out about a year and a half ago, making videos surrounding the homeless community, doing interviews with the homeless, trying to give those guys a voice, making videos of the abandoned homeless camps and such. And then that kind of led over into the public safety portion of it. Ran across, I've always been a big fan of true crime, and looking at all the cases that's happening around Central South Texas, that kind of led me into the true crime arena, and started making videos surrounding that. And then all of a sudden the Lady Bird Lake deaths started happening. Well, they've been happening for a while, but they this year they have really made a huge splash because there's been so many men found in the lake. But yeah, so that I'm still making the content around homelessness. My company Dash, we're not only making content, but we have an outreach arm, so to speak, where sadly here in Austin there's a lot of NGOs that provide help for the homeless, but they don't go into the camps. And there's some massive camps. We're talking, some of them are 100. Yeah, they're 100, 200 people camps. And it's not safe to go into these camps, especially with a camera. I wouldn't advise anybody, try to do that. We've had success with it, but we've also found ways to be safe doing it. I have security that I film with when we're in these camps.
I've seen some of the needles that you found in these camps.
Oh, you know what?
You don't want that in your foot.
It is needles and Narcan. If I had a penny for every needle and every dose of Narcan, and I'm not talking about used Narcan, just, Narcan, because here in South Texas, they dispense Narcan for free. They have, kind of vending machines for them here in Austin in certain places. So these folks can just go and, get as much Narcan as they want, and they take them back. And you know what? I'm not going to complain about that. I think, fentanyl's here, and, if it's going to help save lives, then, I'm all for that. But, yeah. And then, this year, the Lady Bird Lake death started hitting the front page, and we started covering that. And then it's just been balls to the wall with Lady Bird Lake stuff.
And really, even my opener there, I mentioned 10. So this goes back further than that, right? This
goes
way deeper.
Yeah, we have a list right now. We go all the way back to somewhere around 2008. Now, I'm not 100% certain if all of these deaths are connected. And our limitation that we're facing right now is Austin Police Department. I have put in so many Freedom of Information requests to get these files, even the closed ones. And I've been waiting months and have not heard a word. So it's sad. We're trying to find out if these cases are connected. The families of the victims, I'm working with all the families. I've made contact with them. They want answers. So, you know, they've been willing to sit down for interviews. They've given me copies of autopsy reports, basically whatever files that they have. They've been able to get surveillance videos from some of the bars that these men have been in. Excuse me.
They're leaving these bars and ending up in the
water
there.
How many do you have you found going back to 2008 so far?
So we're looking at around 42.
Wow.
That's going back to 2008. And like I said, let me preface that
inside right here, Mandy, who's modding here, she says she's 15 minutes from this area. The two lakes separate two areas of the city. There's a shitty side and a newer, more modern side with mixed retail condos and historic homes made into bars.
Yeah, and so
give us a visual there.
It's not really a lake. They call it Ladybird Lake, but it's the Colorado River is what it is. The Colorado River comes in from the west side of Austin. Part of the river they call Lake Austin, and then it runs into, it runs just south of downtown. I mean, literally, City Hall and the skyscrapers start right there on the water. And so they started calling that everybody that lives in Austin and is from around here knows it as Town Lake. That's what it's been called forever. And for some reason they changed it, but it's the Colorado River is what it is. They put a dam on the east side of Austin and, kind of made it a little bit of a bigger river, if you know what I mean. So, and all of these men, to give you an idea of what we're looking at. So if you're looking at a map of Austin, the river runs to the south, east and west, south of Austin. These men are all starting out on one street, and it's Rainy Street, Raney, Rainy Street. These men are in the bars and the clubs down there. It's so Austin is very famous for its 6th Street. That's where everybody goes to drink and party. Every weekend, the police, they shut that area down, and, it's just one big party. But Rainy Street is becoming one of the better known, one of the nicer, supposedly, areas. All of these men have either started out on 6th Street or Rainy Street. The majority have been on Rainy Street. Rainy Street runs right next to that river. So what the police are saying is these men are getting drunk in the bars. They're leaving the bars and they're walking towards the river or towards Lady Bird Lake, and somehow they're just falling in. So
I find that pretty hard to believe.
A lot of people falling in there.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
Real quick, guys, want to start out hot and heavy there. Into this story because I think this definitely does need a voice. But in the chat here, I see a little bit of action going on here. Miss Deanna coming through and becoming a member. First of all, thank you very much. You are going to enjoy Tuesdays going forth. We are doing members only shows on Tuesdays. Miss Deanna, you're going to love that. And then let me go down here just a little bit lower. Also, beers in the chat for the new member there, everybody, please. And thank you. Drop those in. Let's see if my sounds are working tonight. Hold on. Let me test that real quick. You guys hear that? Yeah. They weren't working last night for whatever reason. I didn't even change anything.
weird.
Adam Malone coming through with a $5 pre-roll on me, boys. Damn. That's what I like to see in here. And also, Deanna.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you all so much for hanging out here tonight. Appreciate the hell out of it. And then I think we got an anniversary here. A member for 4 months, Fat Baby Toodles. Don't think I've heard of this story. I'm intrigued. Hell yeah. Thank you. And let me give you one of these.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Thank you very much. Yeah, I had not heard about this one either until I started following you, Jamie, and kind of getting a little bit more into what you were documenting. And I seen the homelessness stuff. But then when we started corresponding, I learned that you were covering this, and I was like, holy shit, man. And again, being into the true crime and stuff myself, I was like, we should probably get into that.
Well, it goes a little deeper, and I mean, it goes more countrywide, so to speak. If you want to get into that, we can get into that. It's I think once we talk about it, you'll know exactly, kind of what I'm talking about. If you're in true crime, have you ever heard of the smiley face killer?
I have, and I did see that connection actually reading up on this.
Yeah. So there's Kevin Gannon. He is the detective that him and another guy that started coming up with that theory, the smiley face killer theory. Well, earlier in the year, Kevin spent some time here in Austin, looking at these deaths because they relate to what's happening with the smiley face killer very well. And as a matter of fact, I'm working with one of the families of a man that was found dead. Exact same circumstances as what we're dealing with here in Austin, but he was found dead. This is in Chicago. And when you start looking at these deaths in Austin, Chicago, Boston, New York, it's striking how similar they are. Men in bars drinking and then accidentally, and I put quotes around that, falling into the water. Now, here's the thing that kills me about it. These men are all starting out at the same spot, and they all end up in the same spot dead from the same reason that the police say accidental drownings. They are all from the same demographics. Usually they are around 30 years old, and they're either Hispanic or dark skinned with dark hair. And so you tell me what the odds are of that actually happening. It blows my mind.
Just kind of throwing it up here real quick.
It's hard for me to believe for sure.
And I wanted to ask some of these bodies. But how close they are.
I wanted to ask, like, has the autopsies or have law enforcement found any signs of homicide at all in any of these bodies?
So yes, Martin Gutierrez. Let me pull up my. Hang on. Yeah, so there is one death that I'd like to talk. So they found what they ended up finding was on the back of his head. They found blunt force trauma. And it was pretty extensive to the point where it bruised his brain. But they're saying that was because of his fall into the water. I mean, right. The guy, there was no rocks, there was nothing in that area. He fell in about 5 to 6 feet of water, and from falling off the bank, I mean, you're looking at like not even a 2-foot fall into water. How that would create such trauma to your head that it would bruise your brain, I can't figure that one.
Yeah. And I would imagine,
and the cops, they say that.
Sorry,
what's that?
I was gonna say, I would imagine.
No, go ahead, please.
Depending on the method of a homicide, that the body being in water kind of makes it hard to determine. Like if it was strangulation or something, that might be hard to determine because of decomposition.
Yeah, and so some of these men, they were in the water. Some were in the water longer than others. So obviously, there's going to be, some decomposition. Like Jason John was in the water for, I believe, over a week, and that's Jason John. That's he was found this year. It's a whole other. His death is screwy, and the reason I say that is because the night that he went missing, somebody saw him fall into the water. Okay, this was when it was very cold outside. They saw him fall in the water. They jumped into the water to try to help him. Jason John was a fairly big guy. Now this guy that fell in the water or got in the water with Jason John ended up getting back out of the water because he for some reason couldn't get Jason over to the bank or to where he could get him out of the water. And ran to get help. When the police came and the fire department came, they came with all their rescue, and they were looking at a water rescue. They couldn't find him. They didn't find him for another week, but they found him literally in the same spot that they say he went in. He fell in. So it's just an odd story with him. Yeah, it's just an odd story. And the families had asked the medical examiner to test these men for your common date rape drugs like GHB, ketamine, those kind of drugs, and the ME did not do that. So we're trying to see if the ME had kept any biological samples from the autopsy. If they did, we're trying to get them to do some testing. I've even discussed with the families if the ME will not do that, trying to crowdfund some of the testing for it. But again, we can't get the medical examiner to give us the time of day, really. And, it's...
They don't want anybody digging.
Yeah, and, and
you're probably
that's
an
odd to
unliked
me.
fellow in Austin with all the shit you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's... there's one city councilman here in Austin that I talk to all the time, and the other ones, man, I'll tell you what, we poke fun at one of them so bad that I'm surprised that he hasn't sent us a cease and desist yet, because and the reason why, let me tell you, his name is,
you son of a bitch.
Exactly. We call him Zoe. He is a crazy guy. Okay. So when he was getting elected, he handed out hundreds of these massive propane tanks to the homeless folks, right? Mm-hmm. Knowing that they're out in the Greenbelt, and we have huge issues with wildfires in this area. And he handed out hundreds and hundreds of these bottles and grills. So the Greenbelt started catching on fire this year. And I mean bad fires. And they're finding these dang, propane bottles in every camp. So he gave them the propane and gave them the grills. They started setting fires. So the city then turned around and spent somewhere around $300,000 on these little mini fire extinguishers to hand out in the homeless community. And we actually talked to a group down here called Save Austin Now about filing a lawsuit to try to force the city to go get the propane tanks back, and just to kind of poke at them,
Yeah, man.
And it's just so crazy. We poke at him. We call him Propane Zoe, and
real quick, let me hit before this disappears in the chat there. Sometimes they'll disappear. I just want to make sure call out Holly Berry, who's coming through with $10. Holly Berry, thank you very much. Saying Skeet this week. What's up, boys? And thank you very much. And Holly, as I tell everybody that comes on here, has her own sound effect here.
Son of a bitch!
Thank you, Holly. I really appreciate it. $10. Yeah, man. It seems like that they don't want you digging around, and you're you're an investigative journalist, bro. Like, you're out there in the shit. Yeah,
they starting this year, they used to give us the time of day. They used to talk to us quite a bit, and the council members and such. Especially the council members that can use the homelessness to their advantage, the how out of control. And this is why I hate politicians, because the minute I started doing this and having success, it was like the Republicans came out of the woodwork, and they're wanting to use my videos to kind of, prove their point that, this Democrat-run city is, and it's like, dude.
I guess it is political to an extent, but it sucks because they're going to use it to their political gains to
every
paint
time.
an image. That sucks, dude.
And it's so funny when I have a video that goes viral, and here lately it's been about, one a month, that we're making, national news with. I'm doing interviews out of, the United Kingdom and some, little countries out of Europe. That's when here comes the politicians again, because there's, there's publicity to be had. And it just, I hate politics. I'm not a political person at all. And it just, it goes to show, everybody in this country right now is so split between like Democrat and Republican and left and right.
It ruins.
And man, I just hate them all. I just hate them all, and they're all the same.
On this channel, we don't really go into the political field at all because, you really kind of split your base because, I like people from both sides. So,
yep.
Yeah, and I can agree with people from both sides. Yeah, that sucks that, because what you're doing, I can see 100% wow, that would be the homeless era, people, especially with the argument that's going to be coming, the Democrats that are trying to run the city are the reason for that homelessness. Yeah, dude. I used to be more political before I got into really much. I spend a lot of time on true crime now, but that blows, dude. But
well,
I mean,
and
you got a leg in both worlds though, true crime and the political sphere. Just out of that.
That was another thing I was going to talk about a little bit tonight. Is I'm kind of. So I posted, Stevie made that trailer. I've got.
We can play that too. That trailer was fucking dope. Hold on, keep talking.
It's so great.
Dude,
so I've got a series that's going to be coming out very shortly, very very shortly, and right now it's at about 6 episodes. And so I'm spending so much time on the true crime stuff right now that I'm about to turn, Dash. You can see I've got new logos and everything that Stevie has made. And so I'm about to turn the homelessness stuff over to the guy that's worked for me forever. His name is Tim, and he's very good at this. So I'm going to turn it over to him and just let him handle, the homelessness content. And I'm going to stick with the true crime stuff.
Nice.
It's just too hard to do both at once. I mean, it's almost impossible.
All you do is work right now. So
yeah, it's
paying
like
off.
7 days a week. Oh, it's paying off. And I mean, there's stuff that I wished I could I thought I was going to be able to talk about tonight. And I so want to bring it up, but I can't.
We can't go down that road. We can tease it a little bit, right?
I thought I was going to be able to, but I can't.
You can tease it by saying something big's on the horizon. That's all we got.
Something big is on the horizon. No,
I'm going to show this trailer right now, dude. This right here, this is from Stevie Irwin. Did Stevie make this entire thing?
He did.
Holy shit. Right now,
he does so much amazing work.
Exclamation point in the chat. Dude. Stevie, please go follow him. He's amazing. If you need work, holler at this man. He will help you out, I'm sure.
Look at his work. He did the logos. I mean, when we talked, he got some information like, what are you doing? Your name, he took my logo and redid it. I mean, he's
so professional the way he does everything.
It's amazing. Literally, he had no direction from me at all, and he pulled the rabbit out of the hat perfectly.
Kill it, Dan. Check this out, man. You haven't seen this yet, Dan?
Actually, I watched this earlier.
Oh shit! Okay, I want to show anybody that hasn't seen this, and I want to watch it again because this is fucking awesome. Oh, yeah, I'm excited, dude.
Makes me smile. It's great, man. Dude, it's so great. It is great. And you know what's funny? He put in the Ted Bundy clip there at the end, and I didn't even know I was going to have a Ted Bundy video, but I am now because I was able to make contact with Rich Bundy. And so I'm working on an interview with him that's going to go into now. So now I'm gonna end up making a Ted Bundy video with including the content from Rich Bundy, his brother Richard.
Holy shit,
Richard Bundy.
That's a crazy connection.
He's actually a homeless guy up in the Northeast, and it's so crazy the way I found him. I was looking for him through the internet, and I found a GoFundMe from last year that's still active today where they were trying to raise money for him, and I just took a chance and sent an email, and it worked. So
wow, yeah, that's huge. That's literally this entire thing is like reaching out, filling it out, networking. That's crazy though. That's the
thing. You never know. You just send an email or reach out. What's the worst that somebody can tell you?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, we've been blown away by people who have agreed to come on here. It's been amazing. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's perfect. And I mean, you guys got a good show though. I mean, this is rad. I was telling you before we started, I was lurking, on your murder church on Sunday watching the Dahmer trial, and I've been doing this for a while. And then all of a sudden you reach out and like, hey, you want to come on? I'm like, oh man, that is so rad.
So awesome,
I can't believe that. So
that's great.
Yeah, it shocked me when I saw you, when I saw the DM. I was like, when I very first saw it, I was like, uh-oh, he may be, going to bitch at me about something. But
oh no, dude.
It worked out.
No way, man. Yeah. I mean,
believe me.
Mandy, right there. We got a good group here, dude. And like you said, coming with Jay, I mean, we have a really good thing going, honestly. Like, we have a killer group with killer people that come through all the time that make the chat pop. They're hilarious. It's wild, dude. So yeah, you're in a good, and now jumping into full-time true crime. I think that, dude, you're in the family. You're in a nice spot, brother.
Yeah, and following Jay, his content. When I'm working during the day, it's nice to be able to kind of pull up his show and chat with folks from time to time. But excuse me. Yeah, it's the folks the people in this community. It blows me away, that it's like there's where I come from the homeless side, from these, especially the more I've been Miss Hernandez, doing a documentary with her. It's so there's so much like head to head. It's like combat trying to get viewers. And then I come over with you guys, and it's like everybody's trying to help each other, and everybody's talking and nice, and it just blows me away.
Yeah,
It
we
really
love
blows
it.
me away.
It's been crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
when we hooked up with Jay, like everything changed.
yeah,
Everything like basically did a 180. Like we were, we've been doing this for a while since beginning of the year, and we tried a couple of different other things on YouTube, but we started doing true crime and found a little bit of success, started getting subscribers. But yeah, we hooked up with Jay. We hooked up with what is now J Buzz Nation, and it's been unbelievable.
yeah. They,
Hold on.
YouTube. Oh,
My bad. I don't know why I said that out loud audibly, but I saw a question. A question in the chat. Are you planning on writing a book? Is Jamie planning to write a book about the deaths?
I don't have any plans about a book. There, maybe some other plans down the road that we're looking at, but right now, my YouTube has been a bit neglected here lately. With just other things that I'm doing. I'm on Fox News quite a bit now, and doing there's just some other stuff that I'm working on. And so right now, like I said, I've got this true crime series, and then I've got a bunch of videos that I'm making about the lady. Oh, speaking of that, that's what I wanted to say earlier. I am so sorry. With the Ladybird Lake stuff, I've got a video coming out that I would like you guys to see. We thought that the druggings could have had something to do with these deaths, with these men going in the water. And there's a couple of reasons I say that. Martin Gutierrez's brother showed me some footage. He was able to go to the bars, and the bars agreed and gave him surveillance footage of his brother from that night. And you can tell when somebody's very intoxicated. You can usually, you can look at them and tell by the way they move and the way they talk. And you can also tell when somebody is just drugged and zoned out. They're just dead to the world, basically. Well, there's been a thought that these men had been drugged for some time. So I put out a call. There's a group on Facebook. It's a lady, I forget what it's called, Ladybird Lake Deaths. It's a huge group. I mean, they went from like 2,000 members to, right up around 100,000 members, like within a week. And I put out a call on there for anybody that thought that they may have been drugged. Guys, I have talked to over 100 people in the last month that thought they had been drugged. I have a handful, I would say maybe 10 to 15 people that actually have proof that they have been drugged.
Oh, wow.
In the bars in Austin. It is such a big deal right now. And while looking into this in the last month, I found that TABC, which is the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission, they have an investigation going on in here in Austin right now, to where they're investigating this drugging culture in the bars in Austin. And they're going so far as to if the bars are not going to start trying to, put in better ways to stop this from happening, they're going to pull their liquor licenses. So I've got a video coming out about that. A lot of these people, and sadly, most of these people that have been drugged are women. And it's a shame, but it's happening. And I think there needs to be a lot more awareness going on about this. These women are going into bars right now and they're getting drugged. And there are a handful of men that have been drugged, but it's mainly women. So I have a video coming out about that. I'm really happy about it. I put a lot of work into that video, interviewing these folks. So yeah, it's there's the Ladybird Lake Death. There's a lot of tentacles on it, going into like the smiley face killings, and there was a Fox News reporter that reached out to me from New York. He has a set of murders in New York where these men have went into bars and they were drugged and they were robbed and then they were killed. So, and that kind of fits. The only thing different is the water. They weren't dumped in the water, but I believe there's 4 or 5 men in New York that fits this, kind of this profile. And I know there's another group here in Austin that's working with an actual profiler, trying to get a profile of what a killer, doing this would look like, or not look like, but what they would, what you could. I don't know how to explain that. Not physically what they look like, but how they would live. Are they single? Do they work? Do they have kids? Is it a full-time job? And most of these deaths have happened on weekends, or the men have went missing on the weekend. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. The Austin Police Department says that they are certain that these are all accidental. But when I go down on the Rainy Street and I go into these bars, and I do it all the time, I go into these bars and talk to the waitresses, talk to the bouncers, talk to the people that's working there. They say that the Department of Public Safety here in Texas and the FBI have been in asking questions about these men that have been missing. So somebody's got an investigation going that they're not saying anything about.
Somebody's
And I
interested.
find that real odd.
I have a question. Of the 42 going, I think it was 42 that you said going back to 2008.
Yeah.
Is that all men or mostly men or
All men. Yeah.
all men?
It's all men. Now,
only men are falling
again,
in this lake, leaving that bar.
Yeah,
That's
it's only
fucking
men.
weird, dude.
Like,
What are the odds of that even? Just
women can swim, man. I tell you, they're falling in and getting out. But no, it's some of these folks, I'm almost certain, are just transient. Some of them are we don't have names for. In our research, Austin Police put their database online of police reports, but the bad thing is it only goes back 2 years. So some guy out here in Austin has started a website called Crime Lab with a K, and what he did was he created a way that his system looks at their system, and he's just constantly, pulling these police reports, and it goes back in, 15 years, 20 years. So the guy is a genius that he's done that. And so we've been able to actually go back and pull these police reports. Very limited data, a police report number, the sex, race, the sex, the race, police report number, the day that it happened, the time that it happened, the address, and, the coordinates of where the crime happened. And what's interesting is we have one guy that we think survived. His name is Christian Pugh. Christian was down on Rainy Street. He went missing, and he was found days later on the lake, but in the bushes. He was found in the bushes alive. He spent a lot of time in ICU after that recovering, but we think that he is one of the only ones that survived. Now, here's the interesting thing. We have the police report from where he was found, right? And at the exact same date and time and location, we have a report for a robbery at the exact same date and time at the exact same place. But we don't know if they're connected because the police will not give us the reports. So it's crazy that they just will not work with us. And,
I do have one good question here from chat from Viv. Art with Viv. Were the men robbed, and do they have a motive for anything? Are they given any kind of details out?
So the men are missing items, right? They are missing things, but the police say that because they were in the water, that's why they were missing. Now, nothing's ever been found in the water, but phones, wallets, things I guess that most people would take during a robbery, jewelry, things like that have come up missing. But again, it's the police say it's in the water. The police give no motive because they say it's just an accident. So they're giving no.
And just to kind of come off that, I've seen stories, for years about people being drugged in bars and stuff to specifically be robbed. A lot of times it's for people that's on vacation and stuff. They'll find somebody out of town, unsuspecting.
Well, you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are from out of town.
Out of town, yeah.
Almost every one of them. This year, the men from this year, all but one of them have been from out of town. So,
is law enforcement just trying to prevent like a scare, like a serial killer scare? Or do you think maybe they are investigating it behind the scenes? Or
that has been one of the theories, that they are not playing it up, that there's an investigation, but they're not playing it up because that area of town is one of the tourist areas. And so they, if there is a scare out there that there is a killer,
then, that's factored in.
Exactly. And and sadly in this city, I can see that happening. I really can't, because
Yeah.
the cops, they've been caught in so many different, so many different lies, so to speak. And so, yeah, I can see that happening. The other thing is if there is an active investigation, they know that we are out here and there's other groups actively looking at it. They don't want to say anything. They don't want to pique any interest because they know that would just fuel our fire. So, I don't know. In the beginning, when these bodies were actively being found, they came out with a statement basically, it's an accident. Don't listen to anything else. That's basically what they said. These are all accidents. Don't listen to anything else.
Coming off of that, I do have something here. This was from an article when I was kind of reading up about this a little bit.
Lee Nouse. Lee is
give you a vibe of
Lee.
what the
Nouse
police
has
are
a
saying.
silent K. It's Knouse.
Just nothing.
So today,
I'll be
it's
right
about
back. I'm gonna
10:28
refresh my
a.m.
drink.
The
This will
Austin
be just a
Police
second.
Departments and Fire and EMS received a call of a check welfare urgent in the 1100 block of West Cesar Chavez in the waterway behind me. The closest reference is the gazebo. To my left, we're in between Lamar. We're west of Lamar, and we're east of Austin High School, just for kind of reference. When officers and the fire department responded to the scene, they located a male in the water that was deceased. He was pronounced deceased at 10:59 a.m. He was found in the water. The circumstances of that death investigation are still under investigation. Unfortunately, I do not have a whole lot of information to share with you about the incident. Are there any questions that I can try to answer for you? I don't have that information to provide. I only have male, unfortunately. No race or anything at this time.
You can ask questions, but we're not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Any indication that he was homeless?
I don't have any information to provide about that.
You guys are investigating, but we gotta ask this, of course. A lot of people are worried about the potential foul play existing here, serial killer report at all. Is that evident here in the situation?
So, great question. I understand the public has concerns. All these death investigations occur independently. I don't have any information. I would release information if there was information that that was concerning. As a public servant, I want people to be safe. What I can say is,
That's basically all he says. There's no information. He won't give anything up.
He says, "Hey, does anybody have any questions? We're not going to answer them, but do y'all have any questions?" That's basically what he said.
That's what it was. I thought that would be perfect for after you were saying that. That I was like, well, I just watched a video where they basically said, "We got nothing for you."
That's what they do every time.
Maybe there's a serial killer. I don't know. Hopefully, be safe.
Yeah. So if you want to hear something that okay, so this is crazy. There's a guy that we think is connected to all this. It's a death. His name was Randy Lexvold, and I have a great video on my channel about him. His sister has been working so close with me. I mean, she has given me everything when it in relation to her. It's her brother. This guy was found in Shoal Creek, about 2 blocks before Shoal Creek empties into Lady Bird Lake. This guy was found. He had been in the water about 12 hours when they found him. So he had a hole in his forehead. He had a broken clavicle. He had 3 broken ribs. His femur was snapped in half to the point to where it was literally at a right angle, and he had a broken ankle. And this was all on the right side of his body. And they said that he got all of these injuries from falling off of the bridge into the water that's about 10 feet below. So we went out and we started doing some looking into what it takes to break your femur. And it takes a lot of dang force to break your femur. I mean, a lot of force. And I talked to some doctors that looked at the autopsy, and it just makes no sense to them, because here's the thing: when you pass away, if your eyes are exposed to like the outside air, the eyes do something as they turn gray. They turn a gray color, and there's a medical word for it that I can't think of off the top of my head. but his eyes were that way. His eyes were exposed to the air, but yet he was face down in the water. There's no way that his eyes were exposed to the air after he died.
Right.
So yeah, there's just, you know, that's just another death. He was down on 6th Street. He had a drink. He was here from out of town. And we can trace him all the way to the bar, and we can trace him to when he left the bar, but then nothing until they find him at 8 the next morning in the water. And the police are certain. They say they are 100% certain it's an accidental. You know, he just fell into the water, right?
Every single tourist that comes to this area and goes to these bars on this strip can't handle their liquor and just, I mean, this is the.
Well, here's the thing.
It's a lot of people.
They tested
a high rate
blood
anyway.
alcohol. Yeah, they tested his blood alcohol level. He had about one drink in him, but he had a dose of Benadryl in him as well. And the cops say that was enough to, you know, inebriate him to the point to where he somehow the bar that he had a drink at was about a little over half a mile from where he went into the water. They say that was enough for him to get that messed up and stumble off into the water. And if you watch that video, you'll see I did the video from the location where he fell into the water. You'll see that, you know, the way the bridge is made, it just doesn't work out. You can't lean over the bridge to look into the water. It's just not possible. And if you fell over the railing, there's a ledge that's about 3 feet that you would hit. You would land on that ledge before you fell off into the water. So I don't know. There's just a lot of things that doesn't make sense, you know, and if you watch the video, I go very deep into it. There's some things about his hotel room that doesn't make sense. And the part that really bothers me about his death is that the police are so certain that it was an accidental homicide that they've kept the case open. Right. They kept it open. They did not close the case. They will not give any of his items back to his family. His phone, his computer, the stuff that they found in his hotel, they will not give it back to his family, but yet they're certain that it's an accidental death.
It does sound like that there is something else going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? That they're, you know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, it sounds like there's an investigation open. They're making it sound like there's not.
Yeah, and you know, I hope there is. I really hope there is. I hope that they're not, you know, just not looking into this, because I can tell you, most people that live here in Austin, they don't believe it for a minute that you know, these are just happenstance, that all these men are dying the same way.
I mean, just hearing the number 10 in 12 months is insane.
It's a lot.
It's insane.
Crazy, ain't it? Yeah. And what are, I mean, the odds of that happening, that the men start off at the same place and end up dead in the same place the exact same way, and they're all men, all from, you know, they all have the same demographics, and they're all around the same age. I think it's impossible that it's all just a coincidence.
Yeah, it doesn't make no sense. Hopefully, honestly, you know, we're talking about this, but hopefully they are doing an investigation behind the scenes. Maybe they do have some extra hands on deck trying to see what's going on.
Yeah, you know, and you're a public guy. You have a YouTube channel, so I'm sure you get your fair share of emails from the crazies, right? Do y'all get that?
Yeah.
Do y'all get some crazy emails? All right. So I had a guy that contacted me not long ago. There was a body that was found. This ended up being just a homeless guy, by the way. This wasn't connected, I don't think. But this guy reached out to me and he said, "Hey, I found a body at Lady Bird Lake, and I'd like to talk to you about it." So, you know, I hot-footed down there to meet this guy, and I actually interviewed him on camera. But this guy finds a guy dead. It ends up being a transient guy. He finds him dead, laying on the side of the lake. And instead of calling the cops, he goes and sits at the picnic table and smokes a doobie and watches this guy for 30 minutes. He's in his chat group. He's taking pictures of the body and sending it to this chat group, making fun of the guy. He showed us the videos that he took. And then finally called the cops like 30, 45 minutes later. And I asked him, I was like, "Man, why didn't you call the cops right when you found it?" He was like, "Well, I had a doobie and I didn't want the guy to ruin my high."
Holy shit.
Dude.
Can you believe? I mean, and the guy, he's just so open about it, just like anybody would do that, you know?
Wow. Yeah,
dude. There is something like, you know, and I don't know what it is, but there is something with some folks, and maybe it's throughout history or time, but
Something's
today
not right.
specifically that we're seeing, maybe it's the accessibility of seeing stuff instantly online and you're seeing it in your fingertips. I don't know, but something is off with a lot of people, right? I mean,
but making jokes about a dead body that's, and taking pictures of it. I've got the pictures on, here on my computer. I at first I was going to publish them, and then I was like, yeah, I better not do that. That's not cool. I don't want to be caught up with what he was doing. So I contacted the detective that was working on that case, because if that turned out to be part of the Lady Bird Lake killings, we thought maybe he could have had something to do with them. So I contacted the detective. The detective wasn't interested at all in hearing any of it. So,
dude,
she just kind of blew me off.
That's absolutely crazy. Fuzzy Puff coming through here real quick with $10. It's all sus. Everything is sus. The doobie guy in the chat is sus. Yeah. I agree. Thank you, Fuzzy Puff. Appreciate that. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, doobie guy. Yeah, I carry. I mean, this is Texas. I mean, I think everybody carries here, but I carry. I don't leave the house without my gun. And but I when I went to meet this guy, I took another guy with me, because we thought literally that he could have had something to do with it. And we thought maybe he was luring us to. I mean, when you're doing something like this and you could possibly be chasing a killer, you got to be careful.
For sure.
And I already get enough threats because of the stuff I do with the homelessness. The homelessness stuff. I get a lot of threats because of that. But
I've seen people under your post of just literally trying to make awareness of what's going on. They're taking that a completely different way. And like, so what about it? I was like, what? What do you mean? What about it? It's clearly this isn't healthy. Like, this isn't good. Holy shit.
Sometimes they get in the comments and they are very, very inappropriate. But
that's also X and Twitter just.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
but yours, I have seen it be pretty, and it's the homelessness of it. It's the actual
camera. We're mostly videoing the abandoned camps, and basically to show people this is what humans are living in. This is the conditions that people are living in. Most of your average everyday people, they don't get to see the inside of these homeless camps, and
because the news ain't showing that.
No, they don't.
Ain't showing what you're showing.
No, they don't. And, it's a shame. Here's what's crazy is when we find these massive camps, I'm talking about the ones where there's, 100 people living there. The local media in the city will not touch it with a 10-foot pole. It's the national media that'll touch it. CNN, Fox News.
Fox News does get into some of this stuff. They try to politicize it maybe a little too much, but...
Yeah, and they do. So yeah, when they have me on, they always go to talking about, well, can you talk about this politician, or can you talk about that politician? It happens every time. And when we're working with the homeless, it's my theory, I guess, that if we want to be effective in trying to actually help these homeless people, that we need both the left and the right to work together. So the people that work for Dash, I have a rule that we stay apolitical, no politics.
I think it's the best way.
Yeah. And not only do I hate politics, but, in general, when, we take enough heat as it is for what we're doing. But if we came out and started bringing politics into it, it would just it'd be a shit show. Literally a shit show.
Let me take just a second here, because holy fucking shit. Mara just came through with a $50 super sticker. Holy fuck, Mara. You're absolutely insane. I'm going to hit you.
I believe it is Mara as well.
Mara. What did I say? Did I say Mara?
Mara, yeah.
Mara. What did she say? It was Mara like something.
Mara like Sarah like Dara, all the others.
Mara, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I love you. You know I love you.
Heck yeah.
No,
Thank you so much.
Kills it.
You're the best.
I don't believe you.
Bam.
Super stickers.
And,
YouTube is so odd about that. I've had there's this. This is why I hate YouTube, by the way. There was an account over in England. One of my homeless camp videos, they copyright struck it, how are you able to copyright strike from England a homeless camp that's in Austin? You know, and YouTube just let it fly. They took the ad revenue from it and gave it to that guy. And it's like, I mean, how you know, it's
Was it for music or did you?
no, it was just me talking about the camp.
Well, that
But you
doesn't
know,
make any sense.
I had mentioned COVID, and so I'd posted about it on my Twitter a lot. And apparently, this is an account over there. I wish I could remember the name of it. That is doing that to a lot of the accounts that are talking about COVID. But yeah, I tried to appeal it, but there's really not an easy way. I even contacted my
Seriously.
partner manager, and there's just the whole system, the whole copyright system is kind of broken on YouTube.
Yeah, that sounds like one that should have been reversed as this was a mistake. That's insane.
Yeah,
though.
I couldn't even find a way to appeal it.
I was about to ask, did
know?
you try to appeal it?
I
I
mean,
mean, YouTube does make mistakes, but what sucks about YouTube, if you're a smaller account and they've made the mistake, they don't double back to check on you.
no,
If you're a bigger account, they will. A lot of times, your people can make enough noise, whether it's on Twitter or through other social media outlets or through YouTube. They can. I've seen multiple bigger accounts get that flipped over, but man, these smaller accounts, they get fucked over and they stay fucked over.
Yep. Yeah, I've got that. That was the first strike that I'd gotten. The platform that I've gotten the most strikes on is TikTok. I put my content over there too, and
I have a
I
hard
think
time
I've got
on
one to go.
I get a lot of the community
crazy.
guideline strikes on TikTok. Like I just now hit 1,000 followers finally on TikTok, and I'm sure at any point it's going to be taken away.
Yeah,
because of something that they're perceiving as too violent, and I don't even show any real violence.
I have found that. So I had a video not long ago on. By the way, I'm pushing 1,000 followers on there too.
Nice.
But I had a video
It's
that
hard
got 122,000 views on TikTok, and they copyright struck, or not copyright struck, but they struck it. They struck it for violence, and it was about the Lady Bird Lake, and all it was I'd taken a video of the cops rolling the gurney out of the woods, and it didn't even have a body on it. It was just the cops rolling the gurney,
literally.
And they said it was violence. They put the video back up, but they put that thing on it where you've got to, it says that it could be harmful or whatever. Do you really want to watch it? You got to click a button to actually watch it.
Yeah.
And so, basically they just killed the engagement completely.
Right. Because, somebody has to do an extra step to watch it now. They do that on YouTube a lot, too. Sometimes some of our stuff gets triggered with that, and ain't much you can do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And sometimes it's just about it's open conversation is what's annoying. I mean, of course you can get into some shitty, trigger warning stuff even in conversation, but man, come on. Like,
Well,
you do Patreon, Jamie?
I have a Patreon. I'm not really active. I think the only way that people can support right now is there's subscriptions on Twitter. Which
do that. And we've got that. We can post that up in the chat as well. Your Twitter.
Yeah.
I think Mandy's been posting that in there.
They when you start that with Twitter, they allow you to set what your subscription cost is, and believe me, if you set it, you better make sure that's what you want, because there is no way you're changing it after that.
Oh, okay.
And
wow.
And it's odd, and I want to tell everybody that if you are subscribing to your favorite creators on Twitter, do it through the web. That way, if you do it through the web, you are doing it through Twitter, and it's through Stripe. If you do it through your Android or through your iPhone, the App Store and the Play Store, they're going to take a certain percentage. So like I make my subscriptions are $4. If you were to subscribe through your Android, I would end up getting like $2 and some change out of it. Where if you do it through Twitter, the creator gets the whole $4.
Wow.
And they don't tell people about that either. Yeah.
Dude, that's messed up, man.
Yeah.
Use the website, use the actual, through actual. So are you saying like don't use your phone? Like don't use the app Twitter to do it? Fuck.
Yeah.
Don't use your desktop.
Don't use your app.
But on Twitter, you get the full amount?
Yeah. If you do
Twitter
it through
doesn't
the
take any cut?
Yeah, if like you get on your computer. Yeah, for right now, Twitter's not taking any cuts from any creator. They're letting the creator have 100% of the money. Now, They
That's
did
pretty
say
cool.
that's only going to last a certain period of time, like the first year.
Well,
After
I'm not even
that,
going to
then
get
they're gonna
into
take a
that boat.
Right.
I know me and Jay both have been trying to get that. I don't know why Jay hasn't. Jay has a large account and gets a lot of
Well,
numbers.
you know,
but yeah,
like I said, I submitted the application to do it, and then I forgot about it because it took so long, and then all of a sudden it was just there one day.
I finally
So
hit all my
it-
numbers on there, and yeah, I applied, and yeah, I'm still waiting. It's been a couple months. I feel like I looked today because we were talking about it privately, and it just still
Yeah.
says pending.
Yeah, mine said pending forever, and I stopped looking at it after a while. You know, what I mean, what's the point? But you'll get a notification, just like if somebody commented, you'll get a notification in your feed, and it'll come out of the blue. So
And
I
even
don't
if
know
you-
how they're doing it.
And even if you don't subscribe, make sure you're following because yeah, he's posting a
Yeah.
lot of cool content. And then again, something that we can't even discuss or talk about, something big is on the horizon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
from documenting Austin,
Yeah,
it's gonna be
hopefully-
dope.
Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about that soon. I was really hoping I was going to get to, but I can't.
A little
So
bit
yeah,
premature.
yeah, a little bit. You know, I'll tell you what. When we can talk about it, I'll come back on this show if if you guys will have me, and we'll talk.
Yes,
we'll
sir.
talk about
Always.
it then.
Hell yeah.
So
Well,
shoot, maybe by then we'll all be like Demolition Ranch side.
yes.
Right.
Which I mean, yeah,
Always.
dude, you're easy as hell to talk to, man. And you're welcome back anytime, brother.
Yeah, man. So these long form conversation shows where we just kind of sit and talk, these things are great. You know, I do a lot of, you know, going on the news, and it's all like sound bites. You know, you can go on and interview for 20 minutes on camera, and they use like 30 seconds of it. And I hate doing the news, but it's a good way. I get a nice bump in followers from it. But these shows where you just kind of sit and talk and chill out and
Get
you know
your
interact
opinion
with
out
the
there.
chat,
Yeah,
it's
man.
great. It's great,
It's the
and
best. This is the future.
it is for
Like,
sure.
this is-
100%.
This is the future for people on television. You can see it already happening. The big time dudes, the smart ones anyways, are already trying to make that transition because dude, who wants to be under a fucking contract with the nation with a conglomerate company? Whether you're Fox or NBC or nobody, I know. I would say you're probably in the same boat. I mean, if you can work with these companies and not be locked down and still be free to do this other stuff, that'd be a little bit different. That's the angle they're going to have to go into because yeah, dude, people are switching, they're changing. They want this long form content. It's
Great.
all day long. People are hooked up to their phones, whether it's through earbuds, work, hanging out at the house, whatever the hell they're doing. They're absorbing this, and whether they're whatever niche they're into, being true crime is ours here, they want that all day long, man. They want to be able to absorb something, and if you can feel that, dude, that's the fucking future. And I love watching some of the bigger cats trying to switch over in real time, and I mean,
You know,
it's going to make it a lot
have any
more
of them
crowded.
Has any of them, any of the legacy media, have any of those guys been successful in moving over? I can't think of any that's been real successful.
Tucker
wouldn't know
Carlson on X.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
whether you like him or not, I don't care what your politics is. He's 100% successful.
Have you seen that guy's views on X? Holy
Dude, yeah.
smokes, man.
He's huge. He's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
he's
gets
pulling
stupid
like
numbers
Joe
on there.
Rogan numbers.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. Yeah, he's a little bit different. He's outside of it. But yeah, your question was anybody that's actually made the transition. I guess
Yeah, that's true.
Tucker.
That's true.
Yeah, holy
Tucker
shit! Hold
Carlson.
on, real quick. MJ coming through at $20. Been here since the beginning, completely enthralled.
Awesome.
MJ, what are you doing, girl? Holy shit! Let me hit you with a little. Love it. Thank you, MJ. MJ, Kaylin sent her here, and we will not forget that. Thank you very much. Love it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But yeah, I don't know who. Is there anybody else though that's actually made the transition successfully?
You know, so since they had this writer strike going on, I saw that like Jimmy Fallon and those guys like the late night hosts,
They're all
they
starting to
have
freak out.
they have a podcast now.
I did see
They all
that.
have they all have a podcast together, and
I did
it
see that.
Sucks.
Oh,
Oh, my
dude.
god, it sucks.
That's gonna be
Conan's got a podcast. I bet his is pretty good.
I bet Conan's is good. I'd give Conan a
Conan,
listen.
yeah, I like Conan. I like out of all of them, Jimmy Fallon is probably my favorite out of all of them. I like Jimmy Fallon.
I did see that they were, that they were going to kind of. Now here's the thing: once this happens every couple of years, though. These ultra mega celebrities, and there's that big Drew Barrymore thing where she was trying to come back and everybody freaked out and she flipped out and had to do the apology. But they always, do they just like they want attention so bad they're like, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it starts to get into this weird desperate type of
Oh,
vibe
speaking
that's
of
coming
that,
through.
I did that.
Oh.
I made that mistake.
Oh no.
So earlier. Oh my God! Earlier in the year when I was just getting started, and I mean I was having a little success, but I was wanting some views. Well, InfoWars calls and they're like, "Hey, come on, InfoWars is filmed here in Austin. They're like, come on in the studio and let's do this." I was like, "Man, that's a big shit." Anyway, I did it. I did it twice. Oh man, that makes it even worse. I did it twice, and that still comes back to haunt me to this day. People still slam me with that. And my picture that I used, the one that you used in your thumbnail in the banner,
Yeah.
that's actually from InfoWars. If you, I'm glad you cropped it. You can actually see the INF behind me a little bit.
Oh shit.
And I just liked the way it looked. It looked really good, and so I just started using it. But
It's a good picture.
there was a lady, Jason John's mother. Jason John was a victim. He was found in Lady Bird Lake this year. Like I said, I've got a good working relationship with all the families of these men that have passed away, except for her. And it's because she heard I was on InfoWars and she thought I was Q and all, and she shut me down and will not give me the time of day. So it still comes back to haunt me.
It's easy for especially someone early in the game to get into a spot like that. It's even easier for someone now. There's a lot of people that don't mess into the politics side of it that wouldn't know what InfoWars is or is really about. So maybe InfoWars or one of these more conservative sided shows or groups is reaching out to you and you're like, holy shit, I have an opportunity to go on this platform. Why the hell not? And then all of a sudden you have a black eye.
Well, I knew, I mean, I'm on Twitter, I knew how bad it was, and I knew that it probably, I didn't think it was going to come back to haunt me still, but yeah, people still hit me with it. If I'm posting something online, Austin is a very progressive city and they hate InfoWars. So when I'm posting something, they always hit me with it. I mean, that's like one of the only things that they have that they can legitimately come at me about. And, I've explained it a million times that, look, when you're new at this and you're struggling for views and a big platform like that reaches out to you, most people are going to say yes.
Right.
I mean, it's because you're struggling for those views. You're trying to get traction, and it could help get traction. Now, you may get traction from the wrong kind of people.
That's true too.
But,
that's a risk for sure.
And I
there's
really
a lot of people
that
end up in that mess that is confused themselves, right? I mean, there's decent people that get caught up into these political ideologies, and it sucks, man.
Well, I met Alex Jones out there, and I think most people know this mess that he's got himself in. And he kind of impressed, he seemed just like a normal guy. I was actually in the bathroom at the studios out there, and I heard this, coming down the hall, with that real deep. And I was like, that's got to be Alex Jones. So I ran out and met him, and it seemed like a pretty genuine person. And his producer got my phone number, and they still call every once in a while. So I don't know. I wouldn't go back on though. I mean, that at this point, I don't want to say I don't need them, but I don't need the headache. Let's put it that way.
Well, and clearly, I'm sorry, Dan.
I was just agree. I was like, there you go.
And clearly,
it's caused you issues. So
and clearly, you don't actually like what we've already been talking about. You're going down the true crime path, anyways. I mean, and really, probably while you were reached out to by InfoWars is because of your political homeless videos that aren't political, anyways. You're not looking at it from that angle, and they're like, "Oh shit, here we go." Here we go.
Yeah, it was all about the homeless camps. And
here's what's sad. Go ahead. To put this however the fuck you want to look at it, that could have happened either way. That could have been the Democratic side or the Republican side that would have spun that to be gross as fuck. I don't care which side you're sitting on.
Yeah.
The extreme either side is fucking terrible.
That's what I was saying earlier. You get that faction on the right and the left I hate them. I hate them both. I hate it both. Just the politics and how nasty and vindictive. I love everybody, and I want to work with everybody, and there's no point. And politics is the most, I think, the most divisive thing that we have in our country right now. And so I avoid it like the plague. And I just don't think there's any, especially in true crime, there's no room. What does politics have to do with true crime? But man, I'll tell you, this community, this true crime community, everybody is so welcoming and so supportive. It blows my mind how much different this community is than the more political leaning side. The people on the political leaning side, they are. It's like they're just very unhappy people. They're at war with each other constantly. And here, it's like everybody's getting along and everybody's supporting each other. And I am a million times happier making this content than I was, doing the other stuff.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Same here, man.
hands down, yeah.
Yeah, I avoid any kind of political talk like the plague.
That's the way it should
do
be.
it. Don't.
That's the classic thing, right? That's how we grew up. You don't talk about politics for a reason, because people get a little bit crazy. I mean, the way you should be talking about politics is the way we're talking about politics right now. You know what I mean? You put it to the side and kind of discuss why they're shit.
We all have our views, but we all voted for who we voted for, but it has no room in our communications. It causes too many issues.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you right now, since I've been doing this, I have worked with both Democrats and Republicans and the politicians, and they're all the same. They will all use you until you have no use to them anymore, and then they'll drop you like a rock. I'll give you an example. The GOP chairman here in Texas, when I started doing this and got really popular doing it, I was the guy's best friend. You know what I mean? He was giving me the love bomb. And when the publicity and everything started dying out, it was just kind of
disappeared.
See you later. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Shit, man. And use you up. They're vampires. All of them, bro.
And it's sad. And they're all the same. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. They're all the same.
And any decent people that are in there, they are going to end up getting smeared by gazillionaires.
Yeah.
It's gross as fuck.
Yeah. When the only politician that I will ever like is Ross Perot. I worked when I was younger. I worked for Perot Systems for a short time, and he would always walk around the Perot Systems campus in Plano, Texas, and he had hallways marked with miles because that's where he would get his exercise. He would just walk the hallways. He was an old man then, and he would just pop into your office and sit down and start talking to you. He had the big ears, and he sounded just like what he sounded like when he was running for president, just like this little hick. And it's so funny to hear him. And but yeah, he was a politician that didn't act like a politician, And,
I remember Ross Perot from when I was growing up in the 90s. I remember him from like the sketch comedy shows, right? He was really everybody was using him, whether it was Saturday Night Live or Mad TV.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, Saturday Night Live. I think
Dana
it was
Carvey,
Dana Carvey,
right?
that played him on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, it was great.
Yeah, he was actually trying to tell the public what the fuck was going on, though, right? Like he was telling the public how they were being fucked, and nobody wanted to listen.
Yeah, I think he got, I was a little too young back when he was running, but I think he got close. I think he got close to winning, or closer than any other independent has ever gotten. But, he drove a Perot Systems, one of the most successful, tech companies ever. He drove a Crown Victoria to work and parked in the handicap spot out front. It was the funniest thing. You always knew when he was there because you could see his Crown Victoria. Just this old Crown Victoria. That's what he drove to work.
That's awesome.
Craziest thing, man. But yeah, it's and so getting back to I guess the Lady Bird Lake stuff. I've got some videos coming out that's going to go a little. Oh, I was going to tell you something else about the druggings. I was able to find 2 guys here in Austin that had been drugged and robbed. This was after I talked to that reporter from New York that had told me about the robberies and then subsequent deaths. Well, I found these guys on Reddit. They had posted their experiences. They were in some bars here in Austin. They had met a lady. They ended up back at home, as men and women sometimes do. And next thing you know, they're waking up and he had a phone that wasn't his. They had left a phone with him, but it wasn't his, and it didn't work. They took his phone. They drained his bank account through his phone. They even went into Robinhood and tried to sell all of his stock, but thank God it was, Saturday night, and he didn't have the option to where you could do after hours trading. And they robbed him for like $30,000. They did it to two guys in the same weekend. It was a mom and daughter. They got caught. It was a mom and daughter from Houston, and they were working the Houston, San Antonio, Austin area, just robbing and drugging men. And they're actually in prison right now for it. But I'm going to be interviewing one of those guys for this video, for the drugging video. And drugging's, it's such a huge problem. I cannot believe more people don't know about it, but it's such a huge problem. And if it's that big of a problem here in Austin, I got to imagine it's a big problem in most all bigger cities.
I was going to say, yeah, I think it's a huge problem all over the country, plus the world, probably, right?
Yeah, here people go out to the bars and they assume that they're going to be safe. And these men that were being robbed, you'll never guess what they were drugged with. It was the over-the-counter sleep aid. It wasn't the like Benadryl. It was the other one, like Unisom. I forget what it was called, the actual medicine, but it was an over-the-counter sleep aid. They literally gave him so much that he just passed out, and they robbed him. So it's kind of scary that, that many people are coming forward thinking that they have been drugged, and some of them have proof where they've,
I believe it, dude.
Yeah, it's scary. It's real scary. This is men and women both, and I'm a homebody now. I'm not too
That's
much
about
of a,
me. I know Dan too.
Person. What's that?
I was saying me too, and I know my brother as well. We don't go out much.
My wife and I, we have two kids. We adopted. We were fortunate enough to be able to adopt two half brothers. And so since we've had our family, man, I just stay home. I don't go out and do anything. If I go out, it's usually because of a business meeting or something. But
real quick, I just want to shout this out. Before it completely gets lost in the chat here, but Samantha M, who is new here, and thank you so much for being here. She also just became a member. Buzzed and Confused, bam. I know everyone was giving out the drinks earlier. Throw out some more drinks for Samantha. Thank you so much. That is amazing. And then also right underneath here, she gave us $5 as well. I'm from Alabama. What you saying about us, Hicks? Joke. Love you guys. Love the info and the fun. You're amazing, Samantha. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. And I know you're new. Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern time, every second Tuesday. So here's how it's going to go. This Tuesday is going to be the first members only. I'm doing killers that you've never heard of before. And starting this Tuesday is going to be a live members only. I've been putting this together. I've got a script. I'm hoping this will be succinct enough to be able to give to you guys in a good fashion, in a professional fashion. The next week, that is going to be an edited version of that live will drop as a video on the channel. So that'll go out to everybody. But that live, every 2 weeks, when you get that live stream, that is going to be special to you guys. It's going to be, now that edited version that's going to come out the second Tuesday, they're not going to be able to see what truly happened, whether the flub ups or the fuck ups that's going to be happening live. So you're going to want to be in there with me live on Tuesday nights when we're doing that. And again, I've got a list growing of killers, serial killers, mass killers that you've probably never heard of before. And I'm hopefully it will be good.
I can't wait to see that. That's going to be great.
I was going to say, if you like Murder Church, which was Stevie's last series idea, now this is the new one. So if you like Murder Church, you're probably going to like this too.
Yeah, it's great. Somebody gifted me a membership during last night's live stream.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I didn't even realize it until today. I was looking. I was like, "Holy smokes, I'm a member!" So
we have a lot of, and anybody in the chat, I think you have to turn that on. Make sure you have the ability to be gifted a membership from anybody in the chat, because we have so many con folks here giving out memberships all the time. Like, seriously, you're going to want to be a part of that, guys.
Yeah, usually new people come in, they end up members the first time they show up because they get gifted. We're constantly being gifted out.
It's now Topless Tuesdays as well. It's getting a little weird on Tuesday night.
Well, this is the first channel I've ever been a member of, so
That's awesome. Hell yeah. Well, Tuesday, come hang out, and hopefully I don't embarrass myself. It's going to be a good one.
You should see me when I try to. I'm not a live streamer. I'm trying to do more of it. I think I had mentioned it the other day, then ended up getting busy and couldn't do it. So I'm trying to do more live streaming around stuff, but man, I embarrass myself every time. I usually get about 20 minutes in and get flustered and end it.
Well, and I've been doing this since January, like about, a couple times a week. Before that, I had another channel that I did where I did a little bit of live streaming. I guess that's where I got my feet wet on it. But
you get better with time for sure.
I think that's what's kind of happening. Yeah, you kind of get into a rhythm, you kind of get into a groove. And where I go live, 4 times a week now? I mean, it's almost like you're just talking to your friends, man. Like whether you have guests or you're just talking to chat. Like, luckily we have that. I mean, there's people that want to come out and actually hang out and chat, and they make it very interesting. The chat's always hilarious, dude. I'm usually rolling because of some of these fucking comedians in the chat. So. Nah, dude, if you start busting out those live streams, Jamie, you're going to be killing it before you know it, brother.
Yeah, Mind of Monsters left a message here that was very nice. Love you guys. You're awesome. Thank you for making me feel at home. I'm in Florida holding my eyes on your crude rest. Publicly buzzed, and thanks, Jamie, for bringing this story to us. Your followers, they're great, man. Dude, your followers are very
crazy. Awesome. Like, everyone's so fucking nice. Everyone's so cool. And again, welcoming everybody in, man.
Yeah, it's super rare we ever have anybody rude or, haters or anything like that in chat. It's always amazing.
And they've got great names.
They're very creative. And if we do get some trolls rolling through, we have freaking snipers in the chat that are going to take them out instantaneously.
I'm assuming y'all don't probably have to ban too many, though, right? I mean,
it's very rare.
That can make their way in.
Very rare. And before, as we started growing up, our whole thing was that we're not modding anybody. We're not really banning anybody for anything, essentially. The bigger we got, that kind of changed because we did start getting some people kind of trolling. And,
it depends on the cases that you're covering, too. The things you talk about brings in larger crowds. And
exactly.
Every once in a while, they slip through,
Yeah, if we do any kind of Idaho show, which Idaho's kind of... the news is kind of trickling through at this point. I still see a lot of people trying to still make Idaho content off of what I have no fucking clue, but they're still.
I have one question, if I can ask you.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
This Delphi thing.
New shit happening.
You've been all over the Delphi thing for a few days now. It seems.
I have been since Tuesday.
Richard Allen, what's your gut on this guy?
Man, since I've been diving in, and on the live stream that I did last night, I was basically putting it out there. This is one that I hadn't dove into, hook, line, and sinker. We had talked about it with Bob Mata, who has been hook, line, and sinker since the beginning. I cover so many different cases, it had never fully got me. Well, those documents dropped, and Bob Mata went on live with Jay this week. And I'm sure you've been reading and seeing some of that insane ritualistic shit that's coming out, and some of the things that they're alleging, the defense, dude. I was like, what the fuck's going on? And I mean... it's so juicy. I had to jump in and see what the hell's going on. But to your question, I don't know, man. Like, in my gut, if I'm just going to go straight up gut, I'm going to answer it first of all like this. I don't think that one person did it.
Right.
Myself, personally. I know we debated that last night, and I think it's plausible that it could be done. But in my gut, I don't think one person did it. But, I mean, dude, seeing some... I'm not going to name names here, but some of the names that are being named by the defense, and I know that they're sealing that back up also. Like, that was a mistake that even got leaked out. But the names that were being leaked out, and if you go and dig into some of that stuff, and then you read through some of... The craziest thing is the individual that they interviewed, and when he was walking away, he came back to the cops and said the line, if you guys find some of my spit on this girl, but I can explain it away... Will I still be in trouble? Some of the things like that, honestly, have made me really question everything. It makes me think that there are other individuals involved.
The guards following him around, seemingly preventing him from talking is crazy. And yesterday I would have probably said, I'm not even sure if he was involved. He's just a fall guy.
Yeah.
But today I did some research, and it does look like he could be the guy on the bridge. Because there's not a lot of 5'4" people, and I found some stuff where people they use a method by measuring the tibia to figure out someone's height.
Dan found this insane Reddit post.
And because, you know, one way would be to try to, if you had the full width of the bridge, then you could attempt to do it, right? And
Yeah.
someone actually superimposed the image of him from the video onto the bridge, so it all matches up. And if you use that method, the guy's not that tall. And then I found where somebody measured based on his tibia length, and the guy's not that tall. And that one was actually before Richard Allen was ever arrested, and they came up with 5'6". And there's not a lot of, that's pretty short for a male, right? 5'6", and Richard Allen is 5'4".
He's 5'4", which
So-
is very.
Oh, is
short
he
for-
5'4"? Okay.
He's
You know, but
5'4".
the thing that gets me is the bullet. You know, the bullet that they found there that was in the ground. I've been reading through the document that you were just talking about, the 100-something page document, where that bullet, there's no pictures of it after it had been, you know, pulled out of the ground. I mean,
Right. There's only a picture apparently of it on the ground.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's another streamer here on YouTube that I love. He's a lawyer. It's the Lawyer You Know. I
I
don't
like
know if
him.
you guys know who he
Yeah,
is.
he's cool.
Yeah.
Long
his
time
style.
ago. Yeah, he's great. The long time ago, I watched a stream where he was talking about ballistics evidence, and he was saying that you know, a bullet, the extraction marks on a bullet, it is an inexact science. It's not proving anything definitively, and so, you know, I don't know. And ever since then,
that's not
I have
enough.
never. Yeah, I've never looked at ballistics evidence the same. I used to think it was like a fingerprint, you know, and then I listened to him talking about that, you know, an actual lawyer talk about why it's not an exact science, and it makes a lot of sense once you think about it. But you know, I'm like you, Dan. I up until I haven't really done much with it today, but I've been thinking that Richard Allen is innocent. So, but like I said, I need to do some more reading. That memorandum is very compelling.
They created a new timeline, and that's actually going to be a part of a hearing coming up, right? Is that new timeline? And if the judge decides that timeline from the PCA is thrown out, all they have is that bullet, and that's not enough. That's not enough probable cause.
You know, in the stuff that they're doing to him in jail, like when he is visiting with his lawyers and they're having him face the windows where the guards are videoing him. And so, you know, when he's talking to his lawyers, they're basically, you know, getting a video of him. They can read his lips. There's no, you know, let's say he is the guy that did it and he killed these girls. Well, he still has a right to privacy with his lawyer. I mean, he has rights as an American. And
so I do have a question there, and you know, it took somebody on Twitter saying, and I think it was Adam Malone that was in here earlier that gave the $5, but he did make a good point there. If that is happening in the room with the defense attorneys, and they see that, because they've had to have seen it, they've had to have witnessed them,
they were documenting it,
right? Why in that moment when it's happening are they not saying anything? Like,
that's a good question. I never thought of that.
I don't know how that works.
Now maybe an explanation.
And then there was also sorry.
I was just going to say, the only thing I could really think of is that if these guys are locked into Odinism and they were wearing the patches, who the fuck else can we trust?
There was also the restraining order. There was a restraining order to prevent them from being there when his lawyers were there. And
was there?
Yeah, and they, but apparently they I think they said that those guys were still lurking, so they're lurking close enough by that's keeping Richard Allen scared.
So is Odinism, is it big in that part of the country? Is that, you know, because I've never heard of it before this. I never had no clue it existed. Is that something that's big with people in that area? That there's this many people involved in it? Or is it something that's big everywhere? You just don't know about it?
Yeah, a good question.
That's something I mentioned last night. I want to do more research on it because
yeah.
I think I had heard of it before, or maybe I'd heard of it in a different way, or maybe I related it to something else that I've heard of. But it sounds familiar, and you know, it's like an ancient, like, you know, religion. But who knows how big it is in a, you know, a small town like that? And I had no idea about you know, the white supremacist side of it. Or, you know, the white.
It seems like that, from what I can tell, that there's you know, I know shit about it, but there is this Odinism, you know, almost like it. I mean, I guess it's a pagan religion, but it's been taken over by a white nationalist group that is kind of like, you know, adding their flavor of this weirdness to it. That's the vibe that I'm seeing is going on. Now I will say again, dude, like when you, and I'm not naming names, when you go and look at these people and their profiles,
Yeah,
there is some shit. Like
I think you're talking about
No,
the
there-
guy.
there's
I'm
no
thinking
doubt.
about.
There's no doubt. There's Odinites or Odinists or whatever. In
exactly.
Delphi.
Whether this is true or not, they're 100%. These dudes were practicing Odinism and going with the runes and making blatant posts on Facebook about
Yep.
getting luck and potentially wealth because of these runes.
And now
Yeah.
they've been listed in this document. Their names have been listed, and are they taking any of that stuff down? You know what I mean? Like, are they that cocky? Like they just don't care? Like,
Well, the one individual was interviewed back in 2017, and that shit's still there from 2017. Now,
Yeah,
like,
we're thinking about the same person, I think.
like
Yeah.
what the hell, dude? And there's I think 4 of these guys. I don't know. That shit's wild as hell to read about.
And what kills me is usually, you hear something in a filing from the defense about, this weird sacrifices and, this weird religion. It's like going back to the West Memphis 3 where, there was like a sacrifice. Those 3 little boys were killed. And it was a sacrifice. Usually you hear something like that. Yeah. And you think, oh, it's just the defense coming up with some crazy theory. They're just throwing darts at the wall. But in this case, it's true, and it just blows my mind.
And
these guards were wearing patches.
That's
Like,
what gets me.
It's crazy.
That's too far. Like, you even if you have this occult group that has somehow all these fuck faces have formed and all congregated all together, however the fuck you want to look at it, the fact that after an individual has been arrested and then you get deeper into the actual prison, he's in a maximum security prison and has not been convicted of this either, not even been to trial. And you get in there and all of a sudden the guards that are bringing him in are wearing these patches that are 100% not official to be on these uniforms.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Like, who is in control? Who's the boss that is like letting this go?
It might go.
Well,
pretty
obviously, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Obviously, somebody up in the in management, so to speak, has to be practicing. And the other thing that's Richard Allen. When he went in, they said his mental health had just declined rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why.
I can.
I
too.
mean,
and
not only it just blows my mind.
The defense team wants cameras. They want as much transparency as possible because it looks like the whole fucking town is potentially a. I'm not going to say that. They're not all Odinists, but what is going on? Like, they want as much transparency as possible for a reason. And that's unusual.
I can tell you, Lifetime is sitting in the corner slobbering right now for this movie.
Netflix right now is like, we got to get in there, baby.
Oh, yeah. There would definitely be one.
100%.
Oh, that they're probably writing it right now.
Oh, yeah,
I would
for
imagine.
sure.
Just and
in real time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Got a new page today, and it's happening in real time. Bob Motto was on Jay breaking it down. There we go.
I just this whole case. This is such a screwy case. The turns that it's taking. You could not write a true crime novel. With this kind of case. Have
you seen True Detective season 1?
I have not.
Dude, watch it.
Is it great?
It's gonna blow. It's great. It is great, but it's also gonna blow your mind because it is this.
Oh, crazy!
It's fucking
definitely gonna
dude,
take a look at it.
The description of the crime scene is like straight out of that show, for sure.
Well, so let me ask you.
It's a great show.
That was something I was going to ask you earlier. If I remember right, when this case was, when Richard Allen was very first, taken in for this crime, wasn't there a lot of secrecy around this? They weren't releasing hardly anything, any information. Like the arrest warrants, the search warrants. I mean, it was all under seal, right?
I think so.
How the heck did this 100 and whatever page document that describes the crime scene, the girls' bodies to a T, how did that get out there?
Yeah, they wanted it to, I guess, but it's under seal now, I think,
it's
right?
The
judge
apparently it was a
didn't catch
mistake.
it.
Apparently it was a mistake.
So am I supposed to just delete my copy? I mean,
right? Are we just supposed to delete it from our memories?
Oh yeah, there's nothing they can do.
Dude, after the genie's out, what do you do? Like,
exactly.
It's out
you
there,
can't
bro.
put the genie back in the bottle. Exactly.
Well, I was watching this one lady. She's from I can't remember what country. I think maybe you guys had posted about this lady live streaming talking about it. It was either yesterday or the day before. And she had mentioned that there was a page that the court had said, no, that's back under seal. And so she refused to talk about that specific page. You know, she said, "I'm going to honor what the,
I think
what
that
the
was
judge."
Grizzly earlier, yeah.
Grizzly.
Yep.
Yes, I think that was in. And so, you know, I was watching a lot of that, and then I hear today that the whole thing has been, you know, taken back. It's no
I
longer
know.
available. I'm like, well, you know what?
Well,
Ooh,
you know,
need
and
a
I saw
copy.
some other people, yeah, like, I mean, it's out there. Like, what do you do? It's
You can't put the
people have
genie
already
back in the bottle.
and I don't know, man. It's wild. But what sucks is that there's so many. I guess what sucks is that you have to think of the family, right? There's so much detail. Everybody's going wild. It's essentially the most viral thing in true crime right now.
Yeah.
And then the families are just going to have to relive this whole thing again, and they're
Well,
waiting
you
for
know,
what they thought was justice, and all of a sudden they are like, wait, what's going on?
and you know, I'm dealing a lot with that here with the families that I'm working with. So when I make these videos, not only, you know, they're giving me pictures and they're giving me details of their kids, you know, their sons, their lives for me to make this. I always show them the video before I publish it to make sure that they're okay with what I'm putting out. I will never make a video that, you know, that they haven't seen first. I don't, you know, I'm not out to hurt these people anymore. And you know, so hopefully it's being respectful. I hope more people are doing that when they're making these kind of videos. But now with Richard Bundy, when I interview him, that's going straight out. I can't talk to anybody about that one. That's just too good. Who gets to interview Rich Bundy? I mean,
That's insane. That's nuts.
It is.
When are you
crazy.
interviewing him?
I haven't got it set up yet. We just got in touch with him just a few days ago. I found the GoFundMe last week. I guess it was Thursday or Friday. I see my parents were. So yeah, it was last Thursday or Friday. And the lady that set the GoFundMe up was actually a filmmaker. And she had made a film, had him in doing interviews with him. And so I just sent an email. I'm like, hey, is he doing any interviews for money? Because apparently he needed money. He's homeless. And I said, I'd be more than happy to pay him, you know, if he would sit down and do a Zoom interview with me. And so, yeah, he definitely was ready to do it.
Damn, dude, I'll be keeping an eye out for that. Yeah, you got to let us know. We'll promote it, and hell, maybe have you come back through and, you know, get everybody prepared for it.
It would be cool to get him on a live stream, wouldn't it?
That would be cool. Wow. That'd be really cool.
Richard Bundy live.
Yeah, dude. Talking about Ted Bundy, that'd be nuts. Yeah, we've done some Ted Bundy streams. We did the last Ted Bundy interview about a month or two ago.
Yeah. Ted Bundy
right before he got executed.
That guy, you know, most of these killers that I'm doing videos about, you know, they were around before I can remember, you know. I mean, I'm not too young, but I'm not an old man yet. I'm 42. So,
right.
You know, this was all before my time. And, you know, since I've been doing this, I've always been fascinated with true crime. But since I've been making these videos and going down these paths, I've been reading about all, you know, the Green River Killer, Ted Bundy, John Gacy, Edmund Kemper. Edmund Kemper has caught my attention more than any killer.
He caught ours too.
The guy is,
interesting,
you know,
as fuck.
It's crazy. You know, he turned himself in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in that one interview, he says, you know, somebody asked, the interviewer asked him, how many killers or serial killers are out there? And he had that comment that, you know, I came in from the cold. You know, it's like, oh man, that sent chills down my spine when he said that he came in from the cold. You know, basically I came in from killing. And, you know, killing his grandparents. That's how it started.
15 years old.
50. Yeah. And, you know, he was saying it, you know, that after he killed them, that at that point in time, if anybody would have driven up that mountain and would have looked at him even, you know, remotely sideways, he would have turned into a spree killer at that point.
He said the reason he killed the grandpa is because he didn't want him to walk in and find out he had killed his wife, his grandma.
Yep. It was like a mercy. I heard that he had done the same thing about his mom, or well, it wasn't. It was
because he killed the mom and her friend at the same time.
Exactly, and now I don't know if this is true, but I heard that he did some things with the body, especially his mother, after he killed her.
That's what he says that. Yeah, I think he admits it.
Yeah, the guy is, you know, all these serial killers. It blows me away how similar they all are.
He's interesting though, because I put him in almost the same light as Dahmer, because Dahmer he didn't turn himself in, but once he did get caught, it was almost like it was just this relief, right? Kemper had
Yeah.
the same thing. He was just like, and they're ready to talk about it. They're ready to just tell you every
Let it
single
out.
detail, every little bit of it. And I think that's really crazy. But Kemper, man, he's so smart as well. His IQ is really
Very smart
wild
and likable.
and likable, dude. You hear it? You
He
sit
is
down and
so likable.
we watched a 2-part interview with him. I think it was the one from 1991. He's done multiple, but the one from
Yeah.
91, dude, he's just like, I mean, he's just a guy hanging out, right? He isn't.
He's invaluable to psychiatrists.
He's
I
actually
mean,
great.
Sure. Oh, for
in
sure.
that aspect, the fact that he's at least trying to help now. I mean, he's a piece of shit for life, but
Yeah.
he's at least it's interesting.
Well, Dahmer kind of strikes me as the same way. What is that channel?
He was willing to talk to anybody.
Exactly.
The experts, the psychologists. That stuff
there's
does help down the line.
There's that channel here on YouTube that where they read body language, and it's a huge account where it's the 4 guys that read body language, and there was a interview that Dahmer did when he was sitting down with his dad, and they did Dahmer's body language, and they were saying that Dahmer is different from most other serial killers. He's not a psychopath. He's definitely evil, but he's not a psychopath. Like, and I don't know how they can tell that from just one interview, but I mean, he's different from the other serial killers, and
I feel it too.
he's likable as well in a way. But Edmund Kemper, from just watching him, I'm afraid that if met this guy in a bar, I'd sit down and like the guy too.
Get his
I
story,
believe.
yeah.
I watched an interview with one of the cops, and the cops was, because he was hanging out in the cop bar, before while he was doing this, and they were saying he's just a likable guy. And apparently, I didn't know this, but he's massive.
Yeah,
I
he's
only saw
6'9".
him sitting down. Yeah,
6'9". Dahmer, though, again, going back to Murder Church, we're going through the entire Jeffrey Dahmer trial. So many of these experts and psychologists that have talked to him for hours and days on end end up kind of saying that they like him. Like, and so, without saying that they like him, they're like, yeah, this guy's almost invaluable for some of the stuff he's able to provide to us now, because he was willing to do all those interviews. Again, once he got caught, it was almost just like, finally, right? Like, he didn't want to get caught. He wanted to keep getting all that pleasure. He wanted to keep being able to control. That's what ultimately he wants. But at the same time, how draining and taxing is that on anybody? And keeping up the facade, and you're in, and I'm sure by that time he'd probably gotten used to the smell. But you're living in what the fuck, like, dude.
I had heard an interview, I forget, with one of the doctors that had worked with Dahmer, and they had said something like that if one of these men would have settled down with him or would have stayed with him, started a relationship with him, that may have stopped him from killing, because he was just looking for somebody to stay with him and be with him. Now, I don't know if that doctor knows what he's talking about. I just found it interesting that that's what he got out of it. And
he didn't want to be alone.
What's that?
He didn't want to be alone. That was it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because when they were getting ready, they were cool until they wanted to leave, and then he's like, That's why he would give them the potion. I don't know if you caught that in the Murder Church. They like to call it potion.
Yeah.
Sleeping potion is what they're literally calling it on the stand. Like,
didn't he try to create zombies by drilling into their head and putting acid in there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was trying to literally do that, and I guess that they would convulse. Like.
It's so crazy. Well, we have an actual serial killer here in Austin right now. His name is Raul Meza. And this guy, you got to look him up. Raul Meza. He is a serial killer. He has killed lots of people, and he turned himself in not long ago. He killed his roommate. He's an old man now, but he killed his roommate, and he called the cops and said, hey, y'all are looking for me, and then gave him some details. And you got to look him up. MEZA. Right, it's a very interesting case.
62 confesses to murder of roommate.
Yeah. Raul Meza. I forget exactly how many people he has killed, but yeah, he is a serial killer, and definitely not the Lady Bird Lake killer, but
right here from it's there's a KXAN in Austin.
Yeah, KXAN.
You know how long he was active?
he was killing, and then he went to prison for a while. Then he got out. He was active for quite some time. I think he
Wow.
killed 3 or 4 people, if I'm not mistaken, over the course of however many years it was. He's an
Definitely
old
gonna
man
look-
by now.
The story here is very long and in depth, so I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to be looking into this. He might make the list of killers we've never heard of, because I never
There
heard
you
of
go.
this fellow.
Yeah, I'm actually looking for a way to interview him and
Oh wow, that'd be
to
crazy.
see if it would be possible.
Might
I don't
be,
know.
man.
Yeah, the Travis County, where he's at, they do allow that kind of stuff, and money, especially when you're in jail, money can kind of get the wheels moving with some of these inmates, and so I'm hoping maybe to if I can throw some money on the guy's books, he'll say, hey, yeah, sit down with me.
That'd be cool, man.
See.
Yeah, we just had a guy on, Chris, that's kind of what he did for a long
Yeah,
time.
Chris Stewart. Yeah, he's interviewed over 150 killers.
God,
He had a podcast. That's all he did, man. He would talk to them in prison through the phone system, and yeah, sometimes they'd want shit on their books. And
well, with this new stuff with BTK coming out and Carrie talking about,
Yep.
what it's like with her dad. And it's so, I see, hearing her talk about him as this, man that's rotting away, this short guy in a wheelchair that's just kind of hunched over with no teeth. I remember when I hear BTK, I think of Dennis Rader that you see standing in court in that white suit, happily talking about how he killed all these people.
so damn
with that-
happy to just be given every detail.
And then when he's, there's that one, there's a documentary on YouTube where he's talking to that lady that made the documentary. He's like, well, all these people, they wanted to know, so I felt like I should get up and tell them. It's like, dude, you are a sick mofo,
Dude,
man.
it's insane watching
He's-
him stand there and talk about the things he's talking about, because
just like we're talking right now.
Yeah,
makes
he's
no
a sick
sense,
one,
man.
dude. Yeah, I mean, I've
Yeah.
said it on here many times. I just went through a rabbit hole of diving into BTK after we interviewed Carrie, and I did some episodes on that. And yeah, dude, he might be. It's hard to say who's the fucking sickest because they're all pieces of shit. But
Yeah.
dude, he's sick because of the games he played with the people and the police, and still to
The
this
double
possible,
life.
possibly still right now he's playing games.
I'm working on a video right now of him, of the latest updates on him anyway, and I've got my Tim, the guy that helps me. He's the guy that helps me do the most of the research right now, and I'm gonna tell you, man, doing all these videos, the amount of research that has to be done, it is. I buy the Google One, that's what we use to move files back and forth. And it's like we start out with 2 terabytes and then it's like 10 terabytes. And then, with the videos that we're shooting and moving back and forth, the 4K videos are just massive videos.
Takes up a lot of
And-
space.
Yeah, with one video, you shoot 2 to 3 hours worth of film, and it takes up. When I very first started using this, I have actually. Let me show you. I have these Toshiba hard drives, and this is what I was keeping everything on. I have so
Wow.
many of these. That's like a film backup. It's like I have so many of these daggum 2 terabyte Toshiba drives that
Yeah.
are everywhere. My wife is sick of seeing them.
Gotta
But
store
what are
that
you
stuff
supposed-
though.
Yeah, and at a certain point, it's like a hoarder. At a certain point, you're swimming in so much content and so much video. I forget what I've got. I may be making a video on subject A, and I need a certain piece of film for it, and I've shot it, and I know I've shot it, but I've literally got 100 terabytes of data to go through to try to find it. So I've got a system now. It's a system with a spreadsheet, and it's a whole long system, but it works. It works.
That's
and I'm
nice, man.
still working on going back and cataloging it all. So we're keeping it all online now.
That's one thing.
You have to be somewhat organized to.
I was about to say
keep
my
up with
biggest
stuff.
problem is organization. I'm not organized whatsoever.
Man, I wish somebody had told me that in the beginning. I'm swimming in video to this day.
I just got to start doing it. It's the thing. I just started
Yeah.
putting it in a place, knowing that's what I'm doing. But yeah,
Yeah, making content. I used to look at folks. I wanted to be a content creator for a long time, right? And I never had the balls, so to speak, to just jump. And I used to look at these guys thinking like, man, that's the life I would love to have, right? I mean, it would be great. Well, now that I'm doing it, and I'm on TV, and I may see somebody here in Austin in a gas station, and they want to take a picture, and people are wanting this, and people are wanting, man, it's a job. I have worked more in the last 8 months doing this than I have in the last like 5 years doing a day job.
Yeah.
And
It
is
a
a
lot.
literal job.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like getting deeper into the actual research side of it, and that's what you kind of got to do, man. If you want to really get into these things and tell the stories properly, you need to get in there. And I mean, that's kind of what we're doing here. Probably over the last, I'd say 3 to 4, since again Dan mentioned it a minute ago, since we met Jay, since we've had Bob Mata on here, we've taken a completely different turn on this channel and went way more research based and trying to have content that everyone will enjoy, and it's not easy. It's a lot of work, man. So I mean, props to you, because I know what you're doing and I can see it.
Well, I've got just volumes of research. Tim uses a method he calls web scraping, where he uses AI and it goes out and just scrapes, Facebook, or, if it's a public profile, somebody's got it set to public, all the news stories, Wikipedia, it just, scrapes all of these sites for data and then saves them as a PDF. And so, man, with just, gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs of data. But then you have to sift through that data too.
I was about to say, then you have to go through that stuff.
And it takes a while. I mean, for one video, for like the BTK video, you may put, 100 hours into, research before you're even ready to tell the story and make the video. And then you've got to turn that creative side on to where you're actually making the video and you're presenting the information the way you should.
Make it to where people want to consume it.
Exactly. The more watch time, that if you want to make money doing this, you're going to have your watch time up.
100%.
And that's hard to keep people watching. It really is.
This is a cool comment. Mrs. Krampus, with the writer's strike, I believe there will be more spotlight on independent creators without someone over them. And I 100% agree.
I do too.
Oh, it's growing. It's growing.
It's growing quick too. It's happening really fast.
Yeah, it's that writer's strike is crazy. I don't even know what they're striking about. I just always hear people griping about it.
I think the biggest thing is the non Netflix and Hulu and stuff, when they buy rights to a show or something.
Yeah.
They don't get anything. The actors don't get any royalties from that. They don't get any kickback.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Breaking Bad, for example, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul, they don't get anything from that. And it's getting millions of views probably on Netflix, and they get nothing. But what it used to be, when as it keeps airing on a network, they still get royalties from that, I believe, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see why they're kind of upset then. I mean, I'd be a little bit upset about that too,
It's
for sure.
Pretty shitty. And then, of course, I think also AI stuff is being thrown in there where they want to buy a likeness and then just use AI to...
Yeah, the companies want to buy the likeness of these actors and then just continue to use that likeness without basically paying one lump fee out the gate, and then they have it forever.
Yeah,
that's wild.
AI is going to change the entertainment business. I mean, you can go right now to Chat GPT and type in, write me a script for X, and it'll put out something,
Yeah.
And
I use Chat GPT a lot, actually. Yeah,
I do too. I got it. I pay for the
Dan uses it as Google.
It's great.
Yeah.
You can talk. Yeah, you just talk to it, and it's scary how good it is. But I'm going to tell you, Bard. Do y'all know the Google AI Bard? BARD.
No.
I was playing with it the other night. Google's got their own kind of Chat GPT. It's called Bard, and I asked it what documenting Austin was, and man, it spit out such a huge lie. It was saying that Dash is this city funded outreach program that's won awards, that we've made these series of documentaries, and we're one of the most important outreach companies in Austin. It's like, it just, not one thing in the whole response was true.
The fuck.
But it made us look good, believe me, but
that will.
True. I'm reading it and I'm like, well, really?
Oh, it'll lie to you now. Well, and I haven't used Bard. I think I've tried it one time, and then of course,
heard of that one.
Microsoft has one it's supposed to be ChatGPT like based, but
Yeah.
I think that one's also terrible. I don't like that one either. I swear I've still to this day just used the free ChatGPT 3.5, and the thing is, it's not up to date. It's based on 22 data from before 2021. But I typically don't need it for recent things. I typically use it for if I need to write something that sounds good, or I'm a programmer by trade, so if I need help with a problem I'm trying to solve, it helps me with stuff like that. But it'll lie to you. So
I heard programmers can use it's a really helpful tool to programmers if you get stuck.
Yep.
But I've got the Chat GPT Plus, and the reason that I did that is because if I'm not mistaken, on the free version, aren't you limited to how much text you can input?
Yeah, it's a lot, but you are, yeah.
And with Chat GPT or with the Plus, I'm not limited, and plus I can just keep asking it questions, and it never shuts me up.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
But it's very handy as a research tool for sure.
I like 100%. It. Yeah. I use it for research.
I can't remember. Does 4 have access to the internet, like current data?
Let's try it. I got it right here. What's a good question to ask it? That would something recent, like
who was arrested in the Delphi murders, something like that.
Let's see.
Because that would have been after 2021.
Yeah, that was October 2022.
It says. Yeah, it says as of my last knowledge update in January of 2022.
Okay, so it's a little more recent than 3.5.
What is the other one? Something in 2021, wasn't it?
It's something, I think September maybe, 2021.
Yeah, this is January 2022. So a little more recent. Not bad. But not like Bard, where it'll just lie to you about anything you put in it.
I'm going to look up PubliclyBuzzed on Bard.
We're going to take some creative license with this response.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, dude, thank you, brother, for coming on here, man. This has been fun as hell, dude.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Like, I said before that I was really looking forward to doing this show, and I
love the hype, dude. You're hyping it up, baby.
Yeah, I was pumped to do this. I knew, like, when you reached out to me, man, it blew my mind. Tim was with me and we were driving. I was like, oh, no way, man. You are not going to believe this. Anyway, I wanted to respond immediately, but I'm like, I don't want him to think that I'm too rich.
I know that feeling too. I'd be like, man, I don't want to just jump on this real quick.
But yeah, I knew we'd have a good time, man.
This is a really good conversation, brother. Yeah,
absolutely.
Dude, you doing stuff in the future, please come back on. Let us know. Keep us updated with your shit.
Absolutely.
Love it, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if I decide to do
brother.
some streaming, man, you gotta come on and you gotta be my first guest.
Yes, hell yeah.
You and Dan.
Like that.
Oh, that's a good way, by the way, to get watch hours up, is live streaming.
What's that?
It's a good way to get your watch hours in, is live streaming.
That's true.
Oh yeah. See, but man, I've had, like I said, I get started and then I get hung, and I'm like, it's easy when you're making a video. You can just, re-record it.
Here tonight, man, you've been flowing pretty well. I mean, you're killing it.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, man. I mean, it's doing these kind of shows. It's really helped out a lot. I've gotten a lot of new followers from this community, and I'm very thankful for it. And so, if I do start some live streaming, hopefully you guys will come over and
dude, absolutely
view that. And
I'll promote you, dude. I'll share it out on X. I'll share it out on. One thing about me and JBuzz Nation, all of us, dude, we share people we like, that are in with us. Like you are going to have no problem there, brother. We're going to let people know, and we're going to let people know when you're coming on.
Yeah, Jay, from day one has started, he shared a lot of what I was doing. It's been really great. Jay's a good guy. You guys are awesome. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more with this community for sure.
Absolutely. Everybody hanging out. You guys have been amazing tonight as well. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Mara, what the fuck? You're an absolute mad woman. Thank you very much. Everybody, thank you guys so much. You guys, again, without you guys, we're just talking to ourselves. So this has been good. Sunday morning. Unless I come on tomorrow, I don't know. Who knows? Well, I know we did the Saturday stream last week. I don't have anything planned, but as of right now, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Murder Church, week 18 of the Jeffrey Dahmer insanity trial, which is crazy. And then again, folks, I'm telling you, you're going to want to become a member for Tuesday's show just to see me fuck up if I fuck up for the first one of these. I've got a script. I'm going to be rehearsing this weekend. I'm going in, baby. We'll see what the hell happens. So
this is going to be fun.
I love it all. Thank you, everybody. Please, again, make sure you're following Jamie all over the place, whether it's on YouTube, on Twitter. Anything else you want to plug, brother?
No, man, that's it.
Love
Hopefully,
it,
like I said, in the future, we'll have something to talk about, but we don't now. But we will in the future.
Hell
for
yeah.
sure.
Dan, bro, you got anything to throw in?
Nope. Thank everybody, and thank you, Jamie. That's all I got to say.
Appreciate
Awesome,
it, guys. Thank you.
Real quick, I don't think I have anything to Portal YouTube. Actually, hold on. I do have something to Portal YouTube. Give me 1 second. Bob Mata has a stream that is going down tomorrow at 4:20. 4:20. He's going to be going live from CrimeCon. So let me get.
Did you catch his the one today?
I
It was
did.
today, right? Yeah, today.
It was awesome, man.
Yeah, that was
It
fun.
awesome. Let me see. It's not popping up for me. I might not be able to do this. Maybe he canceled it.
He did have it scheduled, didn't
He
he?
did. It's not popping up for me. Well, you're going to want to go there anyways, unless he doesn't do it. But tomorrow, I did, and I
I'm
think
seeing
that it's
it.
happening anyways. You see it?
Yeah.
Oh shit, huh? I can't
Do I
find
just
it in
shoot
my
you the
little
link?
thing where I have to do the portal thing. But 4:20
okay,
tomorrow.
okay.
Make sure you're hanging out. He's going to be hanging out today when he went live. You never know who you're going to see on this thing. Holy shit! There's just people walking all over the floor. It made me super jealous to be at CrimeCon. We're for sure going to be there next year. But yeah, thank you all so much, Jamie. Again, brother. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all having me on. I look forward to doing it again for sure.
Love you guys. Later.
We shoot them up bang bang over here. We not scared of they motherfucking ass.